Good morning, everyone. It is 1.5 degrees outside, sunny weather. It is perfect. And what are we going to do today? We are going to pick up the new BMW M5. So that is the G90 series. I have mixed feelings about that car. So let's see how it will grow on me or will not grow on me. I'm very curious on how it drives, how it feels. But I already have some experience with the new 5 Series, quality-wise, which I was not very happy about. I will just reset my mind and let's see if I can actually really like the M5 for what it is right now, or what purpose it is. So with a clean mind, I will just go in to picking up the car from the BMW dealership here in the Netherlands. It's called Hedin Automotive Breda. I think it's in Brooklyn Grey as well. So just like this M2, the M5 is also equipped in Brooklyn Grey Metallic, or sorry, Brooklyn Grau Metallic, because BMW loves to make the first part of the color naming convention in English and then the last part in German again. Never mind, I don't know why. So there we go, picking up the new M5. It's in this box. No, of course not. We also take our BMW parts from this dealership. But yeah, this was a good opportunity to pick up both the parts and the new BMW M5. Now you're curious about my first impressions. Well, I will... Oh my God. This is my first impression. Look, come here. This is the comfort access that you have. So when you put your hand in it, it should open. The old M5 and the 3 Series, well, the old M5 also had the comfort access in the back. And this one just doesn't. So it means you have to first open this door, and then you have to open this door. But yes, I'm just picnicking right now. But it is a sign of cost saving. Look how it looks. This is our own BMW M2. It's also, this is by a coincidence, so it is not planned or scheduled like this. This is also in Brooklyn Grey, Brooklyn Grau Metallic, as well as the M5 is equipped in Brooklyn Grau Metallic. It looks awesome. I think these light colors really look good on these vehicles. Personally, I really think that, you know, I like the white, I like the red, I like the yellow. I think the Grigio Telesto, so the dark gray color, the Lamborghini individual color, will fit this car also very beautifully. I had it on my own M3 G80 before with the carbon fiber accents and the black rims. It just looks astonishing. But yeah. How does it look? My first impressions, it is very big. I mean, you can already compare it to the old 5 Series. This is not an M5, this is just the G30 5 Series. And it look at the height difference. Look at this. I mean, it's a massive difference. Also the wheel size, the whole car sits higher than a regular older 5 Series. The only problem I had with this car on the pictures, like the main problem, is that the wheels, they look very small. The body itself is very big, and it's not the rim size or something like that. It's just this wheel, it's like too small for the whole side of the car. But yeah, let's just drive around and see what this car is all about, what the fuss is all about. I will just set up everything pretty nicely. The interior, the colors are cool. I mean, the blue and the red, the M colors, they look pretty darn good. Let's see how easy it is. I will start it up in sport mode, Sport Plus. Drive logic, I don't care. Suspension, I don't care. Just the drivetrain. So let's see. All sorts of things are happening, like all modules and I don't know, valves and things are closing and opening. Oh, I already hear burble sounds from the speakers. But yeah, that is also nothing new. I mean, we can just simply disable those kind of things if you really don't like it. So I don't care too much about that one. The M3 and the M2s also have that in original form, but you can simply code it out and then you're done. But there is something about the V8. It has a very deep tone to it and it makes the car feel more luxurious than it is. Let's set everything up, drive to the shop, and then we'll do a proper drive of this car. And I will have my first driving impressions already. I mean, it weighs 2.5 tons and it doesn't have soft close. Damn! So there we are, driving the new M5. I will just show you the setup that I have. I've configured the M1 button right now to everything in sport, even the steering, just to feel what is what. I mean, BMW has developed it in this way that it should be more sporty with a heavier steering wheel, in which philosophy I don't personally believe. I mean, Formula One cars don't have necessarily heavy steering, right? But yeah. There's something about sport and harshness, but we'll skip that part. The M5, it's a cool car. I think we should change the concept of our thinking about what an M5 is for and what the M5 really means. Everyone is saying like, okay, it's too heavy car, and I completely agree with that philosophy. So in my opinion, that is completely true. It is a too heavy car to be sporty, but the sheer power of the drivetrain. Okay, it is fast. But we also have to consider that cars have grown, right? I mean, for example, a lot of people also ask me like, hey Berkay, why did you buy the M2 but you had an M3 before? Well, I have both right now. But the M2 has became, for example, the new M3. In my opinion, the M2 G87 is like what the M3 was meant to be previously. The M3 G80 is now kind of replacing the M5, except for the engine, but with the spaciousness of the car and the practicality. And the M5 right now is like an M7 or something. I can put it like that. But to be fair enough, I think that this car is like an Alpina. Like, it is a comfortable car. It has the M functionality, so you know, the drivetrain and everything is very sporty. You can feel a little bit of harshness in the road, but to be honest, it is very comfortable in here. Nothing compared to older models. But in this corner, for example, there's a lot of grip. There is a lot of grip, wow. But you can feel the weight of the car. And I think if you change your philosophy of thinking what an M5 should be like, so a long distance cruiser, a cruiser for the Autobahn where you can, with your family, well, I do cruise around 180 kilometers per hour, 200 kilometers per hour also with my family. If you do it safely, and that is also what this car is about. On the Autobahn we can really enjoy this car. It's a comfortable car, it's a big car with a lot of space. We are trying to get everything, right? We are trying to get speed, we are trying to get comfort, we are trying to get practicality. Get this car and go to a winter sport, for example. And it does everything pretty damn right. But you shouldn't be comparing it to older model cars. To be fair, if you're driving this car, you don't feel the weight. I mean, the weight is just a number. You can forget about that. Just skip the weight, because the weight is like placed all very low in this car. Also the batteries and everything, it's like a low center of gravity. And if you compare this car to the F90 M5, I don't feel much of a difference, to be honest. Even though it feels even more planted than the M5 F90, in my opinion. It is definitely faster. It is definitely faster in the responsiveness of the engine because of the hybrid drivetrain. If you compare Dragy numbers with each other, the old M5 will be a little bit faster. But yeah, who gives about it? Look, this is like instant power because it has like the electrical engine and then the petrol engine comes in.
So is it fast enough? Yes. Is it trying to break any records? No, I don't think so. Is it a capable platform for tuning? Because that's maybe the most important question for me as a tuner. What are we going to do with these cars? I think first of all, one, the exhaust sound. We can enhance the exhaust sound. We will develop something to delete the OPF and make it sound more fruity. To be honest, this car has been developed with the OPF in place. So first of all, they started already the development of the car with an OPF system. What kind of difference does that make? That the difference is that the sound engineers already know that they have to cope with these EU regulations, so they can make the exhaust sound a little bit better than what was, for example, with the F90 with and without the OPF. With the OPF version, it sounded really crap, and without the OPF, it was fine. But this car from scratch, it was developed with an OPF, so they know how to let the exhaust sound as well. As I was mentioning, the artificial speakers inside of the car, yeah, you can just simply turn it off. It gives an extra dimension of sound. What people do forget is that they do these speaker enhancements for you to know how the car is sounding. If you don't do this and you don't hear anything from the exhaust sound and you want to drive really spiritually, like in manual mode, you sometimes really miss the exhaust tone and you forget how to shift. For example, also if you go, this is not a car for track, but if you are going to take this on a track and you're wearing a helmet, for example, with the active sound design off, you cannot hear any sound. So when you're in manual mode, you don't know when to shift except for looking at some gauges and lights and everything. But when you're really driving sporty, you want to hear something, and that's why the active sound design comes in place. That's a positive thing. It doesn't sound that bad. But for example, if we are going to modify the car and the exhaust tone gets louder, still the isolation is in place, of course, the sound isolation in the car, then we can turn it off and it will make sense. But in stock form, I think it's pretty okay. As a daily car, it depends on what kind of daily activities you do. If you live in a small city like Amsterdam or Rotterdam, for example, now, like in a big city with small space like Amsterdam, for example, it doesn't make sense to drive an M5. But if you look at it from the other way, it has a hybrid drivetrain where you can drive fully automatically and fully electrically as well. Then it makes sense again. If you live like in this area, well, we have big roads, big parking places. This is called Brabant in the Netherlands. It makes sense to drive this car as a daily. So it really depends on what kind of functionality you are looking for in a daily driver. For me, it is too big because I drive like 1.9 kilometers from home to work, from work to home. So the width of the car is too big. But the electric drivetrain, it makes sense because you're not firing up the petrol engine, the ICE, to be, I don't know, turned on for just 2 kilometers, for example. But overall, the power is good, the comfort is good. The car in its total package as an M5 is good. It is a comfortable car, it is really fast. For the purists, I am a purist, believe me, because I am also a tuner and I have been driving BMWs for years and years now. I'm not trying to convince anyone that this is like a driver's car, just like, for example, the M5 E39. The M5 E39 is my favorite M5. With the manual gearbox, with its simplicity, it is one of the best cars in my opinion. But you cannot make an M5 E39 again with a manual gearbox and M5 and then think that it will sell. It just will not. And we have to compliment BMW that they still make this beautiful V8 work in this hybrid drivetrain and they produce these kind of cars. I think that's a good thing. We did not lose anything yet. So as a total package, it is a really good car. Can we call this like a little bit more of a hardcore Alpina? Yes, I think we can. Maybe you can even say that this is an M550 e-hybrid or something like that, if you want to. But really, the suspension, it is really good. It's up to this road, it's on the most stiff suspension right now, and this road is horrible. And in this M5, it is soaking up the bumps beautifully. I mean, you can still see me jumping up and down, but believe me, in an M2 or in another car, it is way worse than this. Other than that, the speed limit info, everyone knows about it. These are like regulations that we have to cope with. Just it is fast. It really is fast. One downside is the driving position. I mean, the driving position itself, look, this is the driving position. I'm sitting straight. This is perfectly fine. I can see everything. But this is the lowest setting that this seat can go. I mean, I will try it again. It just doesn't go lower, and this is already maximum heightness. So you can really feel that you're sitting really high in this car. I don't know why. Maybe there is something on the floor. Maybe that's a battery pack or something. I don't know the exact technical specifications for where all the battery packs and everything are placed. But the seating position is way too high. I am 100% sure about that one. Oh. Wow. It feels so tiny in your hands and very planted, very, very planted. This car is on the Yokohama tires. They provide a lot of grip, especially in the rain. I have a lot of experience with tires in general, and I know these Yokohamas in wet weather are doing a great job. Well, I don't know how they will do with a 0 to 100 acceleration, but that's not the only point. I think the feel of the tires are really great, and they just feel very planted. It's 3 degrees outside. 3 degrees. It's a little bit wet and cold. So yeah, how much grip should they really offer, you know? But I'm flooring it right now, instant grip. Also from the X-Drive system. Oh, nice corner coming up. It's on a carbon ceramics, so there are no issues with braking at all. Wow. Spirited driving is going really well, and we are doing really high speeds here as well, and the carbon ceramics are just amazing. There's no fading, nothing. The feel is perfect. Okay, this is fast enough. I like the carbon fiber mirror caps. You see? You can really see the carbon fiber element in it, and they're very bulky, very big mirrors. You also have them on that side. Response, good. I think the sound is pretty okay. This car does give you a sense of satisfaction, you know? Oh, there's a weird... What is this? You feel a vibration. A little vibration. I don't know what it is. This is a hooligan. I can really see myself driving an M5. Also on some beautiful back roads in other parts of Europe. For example, in Switzerland or in Austria or in Italy, of course, to the Dolomites that we already went. I can really enjoy this car and a friend with me, and also some luggage in the back. You know, I can see the point of this car. I have to be honest, I was not expecting this car to be disconnected. Like, not disconnected, but connected like this. And it is very good. It is very much involving me as a driver, and you can do stupid speeds around corners. It gives me all the comfort that I can wish for. It has all the options that you could wish for. There are some little things that I will discuss in the part that I am discussing the quality of the car. But pure from a driver's perspective, this car is doing an awesome job. Really it is. Really it is. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I am impressed. I was not expecting this, especially not coming from the M3 G80 and the M2 G87. You know, the fact that BMW uses these electric engines to generate power and to have like a little bit of efficiency involved is great. And I'm driving like a hooligan for like 50 kilometers right now, I think. And the electrical range is still at 47, and I started at 47 as well. So it just does its thing. This is a very slippery corner normally. This is a killer of a car. And you know, there's also something that I was discussing with my cameraman, that older cars, for example, because you have smaller tires, less weight, smaller cars, it is more fun to drive on the edge with those cars, because if something happens, then they're more forgiving. So you can really drive on the edge all the time, and if something weird happens, then you can just catch the car. And I agree with that. For example, when you're driving, for example, a Honda Civic, a manual gearbox Honda Civic with small little tires, it's really enjoyable to drive. But there is also something about having tons of grip, where you can throw a beast from 2.5 tons around like I am doing right now. I'm just defying gravity. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he is doing. He's driving on the left lane, elderly sir. But yeah, I'm not overtaking. I have to turn to the right here. But there's something about these heavy, powerful cars, but only if they are calibrated right from the factory. And this car is. This car really is. I am amazed. And doesn't even break a sweat. It's like normal for this car, and that's what an M5 is all about, right? To be a perfect companion when you're doing long distances. The car has to be your friend. And you know, what you don't see is that I also will be driving this car at night, because when I'm alone, driving at night, doing a long distance, that's exactly where a car comes in its place, in my opinion. But I already feel that this is going to be a great car like that. If I drive this car in comfort, fully hybrid mode, I will not like it. That's one thing I'm sure about. I will drive it in my presets, so with the manual gearbox, sometimes automatic, but the engine in sport and not fully electric. I don't want the engine to be off at any times. No way. But it does give me a good feeling, this car. Just that it is so capable, and there is so much potential for tuning it and making it very fast, that I really appreciate the fact that BMW has made this thing.
There are just two very annoying things about this M5. One is that it doesn't have the comfort access from the back doors, as it normally always had. I mean, even the new M3 or the class lower has it, so they don't have anything here. So you first have to open up this door and then open up this door, or just press a key, but that's why comfort access is for. Of course, it doesn't have soft close. Maybe it's an option on the M5, I don't know why, but it should be standard. But look at this. This is the fuel filler cap. It is not aligned properly. Here it's okay-ish, but you can see here as well that's sticking out. But if you go lower, look, it should be looking like this. And it's like sticking out. These are quality-related things, and that's really sad. Number two, come here. And just, you know what? This is the microphone. Just listen to this. Wait a minute. It's here as well. This is just plastic. I mean, look, this is a speaker cover. Normally, in the older versions, the speaker cover was also in some kind of metal or something like that. This Bowers & Wilkins, this looks like aluminium, but it isn't. This is also plastic. This is cheap plastic. But the most annoying part is these window switches. I don't know where they got these from. If you look at this, it doesn't even fit to the whole look of this door. I know that that they have to cut costs in somewhere, but these are the elements that you just touch every single day and that you use and see, and it gives you a feel of luxury. And when you're doing this on an M5, believe me, look at this. We have another F30 3 Series here, and this is a 330e hybrid. It has nothing individual to it, just like a basic stock F30. If you look at this door switch, it also has a little bit of aluminium here. And it just looks better. This quality, it has been aging for, I think, 8 years already. No scratches whatsoever. And if you go back to the M5, look at this insert here. It's like, I don't know what this is, but you can already see it scratching and it just doesn't make sense. So that's another point of quality which is really bad. The fuel filler cap, how is it being operated? Maybe the reason why that fuel filler cap was offset like that is that the previous owner or someone broke it already. Because normally what you do is, I will show you again, here, on the F30. This is how it works. Ah shit, on this one it doesn't work, because this is a hybrid. Normally, on normal BMWs, because this is a hybrid, you cannot open it, you have to push a button inside, but you know where to find that button. I swear to God, you can even see my chat message with the BMW salesman on a normal ordinary 5 Series that I had. I had to call the emergency line to see where the fuel filler cap opener was. And it is here. So this is for the climate control, which is digital, well, all good. This is to arrange your lights. And here, which you cannot see because you're sitting behind the steering wheel, if you press it, then it opens. But can you give me the camera? I just want to show you the point of view. So if I am sitting here, like this, you cannot see anything. How the hell am I going to know where that thing is? Normally it should be, if you are operating with such function, I would expect it to be here, just like, for example, the trunk opener. But having it hidden right here, almost behind the screen, is just foolish. If you know, you know, of course, but it just doesn't make sense. Number 3 or 4, I lost count. The seat operating buttons, they have minimalized it and made this cheaper as well. It doesn't look even as fancy as it was. But for this front part, normally this front part, you should be able to open it up with a switch on this side. For now, I really don't know how to open this up. I did not even try to see how it opens, but it's definitely not with this one. This is for the lumbar support, this is for the seat, and this is for the backrest. I don't know, I have to see maybe in some kind of menu that you can open it up, but having said that, the driving position, as you can see, this is the lowest that this seat can get. Look at how high I am sitting in this car. I think it should be better to sit a little bit lower and have a little bit more feel with the car as well. That said, there was another thing. On the previous 5 Series, these buttons were touch sensitive. So they were operated just like this, but when you touched this button, then on the head-up display, so on the navigation panel, you could see which button you were touching and which function it will have when you're operating it, for example, to the top, to the front, to the side, it doesn't matter. So it would help you to move your seat in a way, in all kind of adjustment functions that you can have. I think it was a cool function, it was a cool gimmick to have. It's not absolutely necessary, of course, but if you have it in the previous car, definitely new 5 Series owners will look at it, and a new generation car as well. And you don't have it in this car. Instead, you are, as a producer, cutting costs on like elements which you don't need to. So next up, I was talking about the material quality. Why does it matter and how do I know these things? You can think like, okay, how the hell do you know what kind of material is used where? Well, we use this device. This is to measure our power or the performance of a vehicle for example, the 0 to 100 or 100 to 200 runs. This has a magnetic function on it. Normally on the elderly 3 Series, and I think I can, yes, come here. This is the perfect example. Again, the F30. This thing, here, look at this. It will just stick here because this is magnetic. So it would fit. Even on the door, as you can see, these speaker covers are like better material. It will stick there as well. On the G90 M3, they already indeed made the center console speaker and the door panel speaker covers plastic as well, but with a nice touch to it. But still, you could fit it at the rear speakers. But in this M5, just have a look. Where do you think I can fit this? There's absolutely nowhere. Also, not in the center console. Nowhere here that you can attach some magnetic device. And that doesn't matter for car manufacturers, of course. Also not on the back. The rear speaker is also plastic. But it gives you an idea of the quality of the car. Even the trunk, and I think this is made of aluminium, that's why it doesn't stick. So that's a good thing to save weight, of course. But normally these it should be possible to just clamp this one on a position, because as you can see, here it does. Why am I summing these negative points up? You know what it is? As a BMW enthusiast, I am really enthusiast of BMWs. I have owned a lot of BMWs in my life. I am just really expecting and really hoping that the quality of all the newer cars will at least be as good as the outgoing versions. And if this doesn't happen, it makes me not annoyed. I am sad. I am deeply touched in my soul. Seriously, it sounds a little bit emotional, but it makes the difference of me buying this car and not buying this car. And I will not buy this car if I have to look at cheap materials used in the inside of a vehicle. How good the drivability, the chassis, the engine, the powertrain, or the performance numbers are, I just won't. I will not buy it if it's like this. So I hope that they can make it a little bit better. Okay, I found out one more annoying thing, and I had this in the Mercedes AMGs as well before. So when it's night, I know you can turn off the interior ambience lighting, but I like to have it on because the car has it, right? I just lower down the brightness of it, which is also a big hassle because you don't have the knob anymore on the left hand side. You just have to enter a menu and another sub-menu and another sub-menu and try to find it somewhere else. So you cannot simply just turn off the brightness. But get to the point, what is also frustrating is that the ambience lighting reflects in the window. So every time I look at my rear view mirror, I see like a cross from the ambient lighting in between.
I think it's not only annoying, but it's also some kind of a little bit of dangerous because you only see the light. You can also see it on that side probably, but yeah, I don't know. It's from a driver's perspective, it looks like this. When you're looking in the rear view mirror, the only thing you see is this.
So it's not only negative about the M5, because look at this white body. The normal previous M5s did not have any white body kit. It had it at the front, but it didn't have it on the rear of the car. But this car, it just looks so muscular. And I think a lot of people, you know, taste is something subjective. But I know when some people look at this car and see it on the road, they're like, oh my God, what is that for kind of beast? So if you do it for other people, this should definitely turn around heads. But also for myself, I like a good looking car. Besides the wheel and the format, I think the stance of the car is really good. And you can also modify the stance, of course, by putting spacers on it or lowering the car, or I don't know what you want to do. But for me, I think the stance of this car looks really well. And that's a good thing. Another thing are these air ducts. I saw already Brian from Keys Motorsports. Cheers to you, mate. I saw his head fitting in these air ducts. They really fit a purpose. It's just cooling, cooling, cooling. And that is something that BMW does really well. Not the cooling part, but the engineering part for performance. They did a good job here. They made like really big air inducts, like the whole front of the car. I think the crash bar will start somewhere here, and this is all for cooling. So it is quite cool. And that gives me another positive up for the engineering part for this vehicle. The interior, although the quality is rubbish, the look of it, it looks pretty damn nice. The functionality of the iDrive system, this is the iDrive 1, what was it? The 8.5 this is, so a little bit newer than what I have in the M2 and M3. It's not definitely better than the 8. I like the 8 and the 8.5 almost the same. But I think the look of the interior really is catchy and it looks good. The functions are all okay. It's cool looking, it's good enough, and I think with time it will grow as well. It is the new thing, right? I mean, if we only like things from the past, how the hell should car manufacturers make something newer all the time? That's simply impossible. These carbon ceramic brakes are awesome. No fading, no sound, good feel from the brakes when you're driving this car. It is just awesome. It has been fitted with the Hankook tires. I was just telling Yokohama, but that's definitely not true. These are the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo Z tires with the BMW star mark. And they grip as hell. It is good, it's comfortable, and they just give a nice feel to the drivability of the vehicle. The engine, it is a masterpiece. We are still using the V8 BMW M engine that we have been using before as well, with a little bit less power from the ICE, but is being supported by the hybrid system. But why do I like this engine? There's a lot of tuning potential for this one, but out of the factory, it is just good. It produces a lot of power. The response of the engine is really well as well, and I simply love it. I like it. It sounds good, it responds good, and it pulls like a train. So my conclusions about the new M5. I think from a driver's perspective, it is good. The drivetrain is awesome. The suspension setup is awesome. The way it handles, the way it sounds as good as it can be because of the emissions and everything. It is good. It really is an M5. Quality-wise, I don't like it. Quality-wise, I think they have let down on a few important parts, which I already explained. So in that perspective, I really encourage BMW to have another look, because they get another chance with the facelift version for this vehicle if it comes in like 3 years or something like that. Tuning-wise, there is a lot of potential for these vehicles, but I suggest that we also consider ourselves to have some development time instead of already jumping in and already providing these cars with power boxes and tuning boxes and external modules and everything. I don't like that. I like proper tuning for BMWs. Everyone's opinion is of course different. So custom calibrations, we will develop, we will do a lot of work for these cars. We will develop an exhaust system. also for OPF deletion, for example, to gain a little bit more sounds with keeping the factory warranty in place. Besides that, I think it's an awesome car. It's an awesome daily driver, but I think this car is just a perfect Autobahn cruiser. So with or without a family, high speeds in comfort with a lot of power, it gives you the confidence that you can go literally everywhere. It is, in my opinion, a valid BMW M5. Thank you.